Good evening. Whoa, something's wrong here. That doesn't look very, I don't know if it's my light. I don't know what it is. Here, let me see. I don't know if it's, if it's the camera, if it's the lighting, but it doesn't come across very clear. But it is what it is, so I'll have to take a look at it later. Thank those of you that continue to watch these videos. This is Impact, our youth group that meets on Tuesday nights. It is Tuesday, March 9th. So I thank those of you that stay committed to it. Good evening, Anthony. Anthony, is it coming across blurry, the picture? Because it's blurry from my side. I don't know if it's blurry from your side. Checked with the church today to see if there's any chance we could rent their facility to meet. Struck out. They already have 3 churches meeting there. So it's already taken. So I'm going to keep on checking until I find a place where we can start meeting. Let me go ahead and open with a prayer. Father, I pray for youth. I pray, God, that you would not take your hands off them, that they would continue to want to grow in their faith, that they would stay strong, that they would be your mighty warriors. So God, use them mightily. Amen. What does it say? Bring them on camera. I'm not sure. Clear you from... so it is clear to you. Okay, because it's not from my end. So as long as it's clear from your end, that's good. We got another big word from the Bible. That's not a big word, but it's another word in the Bible. It's attention. Attention. Like what do your parents have to do to get your attention when they're trying to get your attention? I know my daughter, even Grace, my daughter, when she wants her daughter say Josephine, she just says Jojo or Joe. But when she's trying to get her attention because Josephine's distracted, now she has to do it different. Now she has to raise her voice and she has to say, Josephine or Josephine Graham. You have to do things different to get somebody's attention when they're not paying attention to you. Well, many times God tries to get our attention, and we're too busy doing things, and God can't get our attention. So many times God has to do something to get our attention. Let me read here in Hebrews 12:5-7, and I'll try to explain this to you. When my grandchildren do something wrong, if their parents really love them, they discipline them. When I had my children, if they did something wrong, I would if I didn't discipline, it would be almost like I didn't care about them. So I would, and if I really wanted to get their attention because they did something wrong, then there would be some sort of a discipline. Well, it's no different with God. Listen to what it says here in Hebrews. It says this, and have you forgotten the word of encouragement that addresses you as children? Have you forgotten that God addresses you as children, his children? My child, do not make light of the Lord's discipline, and do not lose heart when he rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines those he loves, and he punishes everyone he accepts as his child. Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what child is not disciplined by their father and mother? If they're not disciplined, everyone goes disciplined, but if they're not, then they're illegitimate children and not true children. However, we have all had human parents who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of our spirits and live? Our fathers disciplined us for a while they thought best, but God disciplines us for our good, that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. If God really loves you, then he's going to do things to get your attention. If your parents really love you, they do things to get your attention. That's why I was convinced that this pandemic was God shaking up our world, trying to get our attention. I don't know that it worked. I don't know that people didn't turn farther away from him than closer to him. But in our personal lives, as his children, as Christians, he constantly is trying to get our attention. And let me read here in Proverbs 4, 1 through 5, where it says this. Listen, my child, to your father's instructions, or to your parents' instructions. Pay attention and gain wisdom. Listen to your parents. I give you sound learning, so do not forsake my teaching. When I was a boy in my father's house, still tender, and an only child of my mother, he taught me and said, lay hold of the words with all your heart. Keep my commands and you will live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or swerve from them. A father is saying to his son, don't ever forget what I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you the best way that I know how. Your parents tried to teach you the best way that they know how. And God is saying, listen to them. Pay attention to them. And then in 5:1 says, my child, pay attention to my wisdom, God says. Listen well to my words of insight. Then God says, listen to your parents, and listen to me. Listen to God and his wisdom, just like what you're doing right now. And then in Proverbs 22:17, he tells us this. Pay attention and listen to the sayings of the wise. Apply your heart to what they teach. Listen to wise people in your life. So God is saying, pay attention to your parents. Pay attention to God. Pay attention to wise people in your life. Because then you will learn. You'll grow in your faith, and you'll grow in maturity and everything else. In Jeremiah 26:3, God says this, perhaps they will listen, and each one will turn from their evil way. Then I will relent and not bring on them the disaster I was planning because of the evil they have done. If we listen to God, then God doesn't have to discipline us. If you listen to your parents, do they still have to discipline you? No, of course not. Of course not. They only have to discipline you when you don't listen to them, when you disobey them. It's no different than police officers. You don't have to be afraid of police officers unless you're doing something wrong. So you don't have to be afraid of teachers unless you're doing something wrong. You don't have to be afraid of your parents unless you're doing something wrong. When you do something wrong, then expect them to discipline you. So God says, as long as you're not doing anything wrong, God says, then I don't have to discipline you. In John 8:47, says this, Jesus said, he who belongs to God hears what God says. The reason that you do not hear is that you do not belong to God. You are a Christian, young people, and you belong to God, so you hear what he says. People, your friends and the ones that are not Christians, they don't hear God. They don't hear God like you do. You are a child of God. They're not. They're not. So your parents don't discipline other children. They discipline you, their children. God disciplines his children. He doesn't discipline children that are not his. So we listen to him because we are Christian, because we belong to him. Others don't listen to him because they don't belong to him. In John 10:2-4 says this, the person who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. He's talking about Jesus and us as sheep. The watchman opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls the sheep by name, and he leads them out. His sheep listen to him. When he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. We follow Jesus because we know his voice. When I'm reading these scriptures to you, You understand them. You have an interest in them. Your friends that are not Christians, they have no interest in hearing this. They don't have any interest in this at all. Why? Because they're not his sheep. You are his sheep. So you should have an interest in him. So just like most of you are willing to listen to me. Many of you are tuning in now, willing to listen to me. Why? Why? Because you know that I love you. You know that I care about you. That's why you're willing to listen to me. You listen to your parents because you know that they love you. You know that they care about you. Well, you listen to God, to Jesus, because you know that they love you, that they care about you. So you listen to them. Jesus has proven his love to you in many, many ways. I've proven my love to you in many ways. Your children, your parents have proven their love to you in many ways. So let's go back to what Jesus says. God says, listen to your parents. Listen to your parents. They shouldn't have to holler at you to get your attention. Listen to God. He shouldn't have to holler at you to get your attention. And then listen to wise people in your life. Listen to the wise. You all have people in your life that have a lot of wisdom. Maybe it's aunts, uncles, grandparents, pastors, youth leaders that listen to them. Pay attention to them. And I know most of you are doing that now. You're paying attention. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Pay attention to your parents. Pay attention to God. Pay attention to Jesus. Pay attention to those that have a lot of wisdom in your life. Amen? All right. Hey, thank you for listening. Tomorrow's Crash, our other youth group that meets at 7 o'clock. So I hope many of you tune in again tomorrow night for Crash. Thank you for watching. I trust you had a great day, and I hope that you have a great night. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see many of you tomorrow night at Crash. See you later.